We'll see about that one. Shit. Well, while I'm here, let me introduce you to Sega and RGG's latest and greatest, Like a Dragon Ishin. This game isn't exactly new, it's actually a remake of an older game by the same name, which released back in 2014 as a Japanese exclusive. This meant that the sad and depraved gamers in English-speaking countries, like myself, had no official way to play the game without learning the language. However, due to the recent chronic addiction to the Yakuza series that has been slowly developing over the last few years, the gods decided to bless us with not only a translation, but a full-on remake. As you might be able to tell, this made many people, including me, very excited. Now, of course, I wanted to make a video on it, because I, nor most English speakers, have played it. I also thought that just recording footage wasn't interesting enough, and as such decided to stream my initial impressions and first bit of gameplay. With my excitement cranked to the max, I opened up the YouTube streaming panel the night before Ishin comes out, went to create a live stream, had to wait 24 goddamn hours because of some reason, and prepared to live stream the next day. With the stream set up, a good night's sleep, and Ishin's release, I set out on my journey to make this video, documenting and reviewing the first 2 hours, oh come on man, the first while of Like a Dragon Ishin. Now, as a little bit of a warning, the story does get discussed a little bit throughout the video, but I won't go too in depth or spoil anything, so the most you'll see is probably going into the first chapter, maybe a little bit more. If you don't want to be spoiled, I'll let you know when I'm going to discuss the story, and you can complete the YouTube equivalent of a QTE by skipping ahead. Also, before we dive in, what the fuck, when did this happen? Seriously though, thank you all so much for the support, it means a lot. Now, the first thing I noticed when starting Ishin is this. Right from the get-go, there was an extra difficulty, and Legend was available on the first playthrough. For the unexperienced, this is a big change, but still a welcome one. In years gone by, Legend difficulty would basically mean that you were made out of glass, enemies were made out of titanium, and if you died, you would have to reload at a save point rather than the ever so convenient checkpoint. So, as the glutton for pain that I am, of course, I chose the highest difficulty. Yeah, nah, I'm a bit of a pussy. The game starts off with a few pre-rendered cutscenes, something that usually I don't appreciate, and in most other series would prefer to be rendered in-engine. However, RGG Studios pre-renders hit hard, and Ishin absolutely does not disappoint. The visual quality presented in Ishin is stunning, and when I say stunning, I don't mean like standard stunning, I mean Yakuza 3 Street Encounter stun lock levels of stunning. The models are gorgeous, the lighting is phenomenal, just everything about this is beautiful. Like, look at these waves, man, not to mention the music. It's not even been 10 minutes, and I'm already overwhelmed by the amount of time, effort, and dedication that the visuals and soundtrack had put into them. After some ominous foreshadowing, exposition, and a ship sailing montage, the gameplay begins. With the Ishin protagonist, Sakamoto Ryoma, or as I like to call him, Sakataz, arrives in his hometown of Tosa, where you'll immediately start beating the ever-living shit out of the Joshi. A scenario like this, which is present in many other Yakuza games, is the perfect time for a combat tutorial. This combat tutorial gives you some basic advice on the brawler style, the first style of combat that you unlock in the game, which seems pretty solid from first impressions. Some basic attacks, a heavy attack to finish, and a loud slap. Nice. All in all, not a bad way to introduce a character or a game's combat style. Something I did notice through this, however, was the occasional lag spike. Now, these lag spikes were pretty bad. However, I'm pretty sure it had something to do with animations or something similar being loaded for the first time on my PC, as they only really happened during this fight. But looking past these occasional mishaps, I noticed that this game ran fluidly. Like, if I were to compare Kiwami 2 and Ishin with similar settings, Kiwami 2 would probably run at 90 FPS and drop to 40 or 50. Ishin, on the other hand, despite being more modern and arguably nicer looking, was running at the cap of 120 FPS consistently. Genuinely very impressive. The Unreal Engine is unreal. Anyway, much like any normal civilization, beating the shit out of people in the middle of the street gets you thrown in jail. And much like any normal civilization, your father being in a high-ranking government position gets you out of said jail. After a leisurely chat with some tea and catching up for old time's sakes with your father, you somehow get roped into being the second in command of a revolutionary force to overthrow the class system that plagues Tosa. And yes, you did only arrive 15 minutes ago. You also meet a cool guy with a scar on his back that refers to you as brother, but I can't tell if they mean brother in the sense that they're brothers in arms, raised in the same orphanage, or if they are actually just blood related. But in the end, none of that really matters too much, because he gives you a gun. At this point in the game, you've unlocked all the other combat styles: Gunman, Swordsman, and Wild Dancer. Gunman seems to be most effective for when you are unreasonably terrified of your enemies and need to play like a little bitch, with some cool distinct ammo types you can use to exploit certain enemies' weaknesses. The swordsman style is for those who like to get up close and personal, giving you lots of opportunities to block incoming attacks as long as you time it right, while still having a reasonable number of combos. The final style is the most interesting, the Wild Dancer style, where you essentially Beyblade let it rip and dodge so much that no one actually knows where you went. Oh yeah, also gone. Anyway, after some tutorial fights, a bit of running around, and 10 years in the joint, the main story begins to unfold. Warning, warning, spoiler alert time. You meet up with your father and brother, I think, again I'm still not sure, to discuss a 24-hour gaming session where you storm the castle in Tosa to bring the revolution. Then out of absolutely nowhere, this guy sneaks in, goes all like, and dips. Your brother chases the fellow and leaves you in the room all alone with a corpse. Very suspicious looking. Keep in mind that nobody here knows who Ryoma is because he arrived literally yesterday. Very, very suspicious indeed. People come in and suspect the suspicious person, who would have guessed, so instead of explaining himself, Ryoma has got a much more fun idea. After you beat the first long section of the game, you run into your first real boss, and this guy is tough, like really tough. Tough enough that the fight actually ended before I even got him to half health. Oh! One thing that Ishin does get right is the difficulty. You see, when I picked this, I expected it to be relatively difficult, but this is much more difficult than I was expecting. But not so difficult that it's impossible, it's just that sweet balance in between. After some more cutscenes and exposition, which I don't really want to spoil for you, Sakataz says a haiku.
世の人は我を何とも言わば言え。我がなすことは and
jumps off a cliff. At this point, the game starts to open up more, like a lot more. Following a year-long time skip, you are introduced to the main map of the game, Kyo, which contains several districts. It is also around this stage in the game where the distractions begin to appear. For example, the classic karaoke. A dancing minigame. There's some gambling, but more importantly, fucking chicken racing? Wait, hold on, what? I don't even have any footage of this, but just aside from the minigames, there are also 3 dojos that you can go to in order to unlock more abilities. Firstly, the Brawler Styles abilities are learnt from the classic Komaki bloodline, as per usual. The Gunman style abilities can be learnt from, of course, an American, and the styles involving swords have their abilities unlocked from this fellow here. The most concerning part about these dojos is how easily and willing they are to put their students in danger. Like, I get Komaki, it's martial arts, it's dangerous, but it's not that bad, besides you need to train somehow. But these two literally tell you that you are doing a good job shooting their students, who did quite literally nothing wrong, 58 times in the chest. Don't fuck with these guys, very scary. Yet again, another warning, story is being discussed now, although very abridged. There's a lot going on in the chapter, so I'm going to try and sum it up as quickly and incorrectly as possible in order to make this video fit within 10 minutes. Well, that didn't fucking work now, did it? Basically, Ryoma is now Saito Hajime because people kept calling him Sakataz, and he also did kind of get framed for murder, jump off a cliff, and run away, so it kind of makes sense. He spent the last year searching for this really specific combat style, beats some dudes up, and runs into Niboru, who is a pile of cloth in the background of literally every scene, and really likes peeping into people's windows. Niboru tells Hajime that he kind of smells a little bit and should go take a bath with this old guy who just really seems to know a lot about everything. Trust him on this. Also, Ryuji, my guy, put some pants on. Everything is just out there. Okay, actually, you know what? I'm fine with this. We're friends. Ryoma walks outside. Uh-oh, I wonder who this could be.
10 years in the...
More cutscenes and more exposition. I'm going to join the Shinsengumi to find who killed Dad. No. Ryoma then goes to the Shinsengumi tryouts and... Holy shit, it's Saejima. Never mind, it's Nagakura. I hope this one's easy. Oh no. Jesus Christ. Okay. Okay. Okay, he just charges me like that. Fair enough. Turns out, this guy has a one hit, and I was really struggling. Gunman seems to be most effective for when you are unreasonably terrified of your enemies and need to play like a little bitch. After beating Saejima in an honorable duel. Holy shit, it's Majima. Oh, never mind, it's Okita. Oh my god, another boss fight back to back? Jeez, I hope this isn't that hard, but... Oh, I guess we don't have to fight. Holy shit, it's Mine! After some more discussions, you end up having a chat with Mine's likeness, specifically about your position within the Shinsengumi. And that is when Sarah shows up. Oh my goodness, what a great cast, man. Sarah honestly needed some more screen time. He's actually like a really cool character too. He got a little bit stitched up in the other games, but at the same time, I just really hope that he gets some more screen time. And there he goes. Damn. Okay, I'm making a lot of fun about it, but the actual storyline, not my estranged, abridged version of it, is actually pretty interesting and in-depth, with some very fitting character choices and likenesses being used, with intriguing plotlines sprinkled on top. The fact that it's also at least somewhat grounded in real-world history is also a cool aspect of it, yet RGG still manages to maintain their ridiculousness and incredibly unrealistic combat and design choices. Like, how many bullets does this thing have? Because I know for a fact that the real-world version of the gun cannot just do this. All in all, it's a very fun game, and despite only having played up to the start of Chapter 3 as of this review, there is a lot of potential in this game. Between the 4 distinct and unique combat styles that all seem to be as fun as one another, the awesome cast of characters, fantastic looking graphics, historical setting, and amazing soundtrack, I think this one might just become my favourite Yakuza game to date. Or should I be saying Like a Dragon game? They said something about changing the titles of the games in the RGG Summit, and honestly I was struggling to breathe after the voice actors came out in suits. Like, I mean, just look at this guy, can you really blame me? Either way, I would easily recommend this as a potential starting point for the series, even if it's just as a test run to see if you like the style of the Yakuza franchise, or Like a Dragon, I still don't know. But seeing as it doesn't really connect to the main games, it can be played at any point throughout the series as well, and the varied difficulties in the game provide plenty of choices for beginners. Although, with a price tag like this, I can understand why you would still want to play Zero as your first trial run. Oh my god, I paid that much money. Thanks for watching through to the end of the video. It's a bit longer than usual, but you know, it is what it is. Also, all the footage recorded in this was recorded live on this channel here. And in all likelihood, I will be continuing to stream the game even after this video comes out. So come and check it out if you're interested in seeing just how bad a person can be at video games and how stubborn they can get when the game asks them if they want to play on easy. No, do not switch to easy. Alright, one last thing. Red button. Also comment too. Well then, I'll see you again in the next video, same place, same time, next week.